Good morning, people of the internet. You're listening to Debi Radio 79.5 FM, a podcast where we discuss the movie Grosse Pointe Blank 1 minute at a time. I'm your co-host, Dev.
And I'm the other co-host, Hugh, and on today's show, we're looking at minute 57, where we are with John Cusack's character, Martin Blank, in his former high school sweetheart's bedroom, well, her bedroom when she was a teenager as well, Debbie Newbury, the wonderful Mini Driver, and John Cusack going at the dialogue like it's no tomorrow. This is juicy stuff for young actors who want to make a mark.
Joining us once again on today's show, we have movie superfan Kosmas, famed in Germany for having written a huge number of in-German reviews on films in IMDb. Welcome back, Kosmas.
Hi, thanks for having me back today too. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. It's good to have you here all this week with these episodes. So,
thank you, guys.
Dev. So we go in this continuing path of really like establishing that these two characters have background, have a prior relationship together, right? We get all of these beats of, you know, the bed, the magic bed, the magic carpet, the airplane. I do love that when he gives Debbie the airplane, he's still wearing his boots, and those are so clearly military boots. Like, I mean, no other boots have that kind of look to them. Not parade ready either. Like, they're kind of field wear.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also this thing of like this, like it's so childish, right? Like, you know, after all the sort of like vaguely sexy, you know, is this the magic bed, the magic carpet? You know, clearly places they've had sex, and then like, oh, now we're going to actually just goof around for a bit, you know? I love it. I love just how it's such an interesting way of showing just how physically comfortable they still are with each other, despite the thing that is between them, right? The lack of knowledge of what Martin's been doing.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked last week, Hugh and I had about how Martin missed the mark with the nobody buys American line anymore when he's trying to reach out to Debbie to relate to her, and it kind of it whiffs. Here he's making these personal references. He's recalling those things that they both went through in childhood, and he hits, right? Like this is the stuff that actually, like, it's that relationship that sells. This is where she's really starting to see the young John Cusack or the young Martin Blank, not the Martin Blank necessarily that exists now.
I just watched the minute again, and I'm because I watched it the other day for the first time. The vase with the flowers on top of the cupboard. Do you guys? I mean, the angle it is filmed and all that. Do you guys have any idea why it's there? Like, is it just there because it's like a crazy room, or?
I feel like it's classic 90s potpourri, right? Like it's that dried flower arrangement that kind of looks a little neglected and decrepit, but you keep spraying it with perfume and all of a sudden, like, it has a function.
So my take on it is that, but I would go further and say, if we assume she doesn't live here anymore, she actually does have an apartment, then actually this is now basically a spare room for people, right? Like if somebody visits the dad. So he doesn't mind keeping a couple of posters up, right? The anti-nuke poster, the Clash poster, but everything else looks like way above her age, right? Like granny level.
So,
like those weird oval paintings with the flowers.
The existence on the posters on the wall, I feel like this is the room is decorated and furnished exactly how it was before she went to college.
Right.
And she grew up in a house in an affluent neighborhood, and her parents were like, this is how this room will be decorated. And it was, you know, that teenage rebellion when she started putting the posters up, and she put a few posters up. And I feel like that's where it's at, because otherwise I can't imagine, especially when you meet her dad and how, you know, conservative American businessman he is. There's no way anti-nuke posters would have stayed up once she'd moved out. like if there was actually any, intent to redecorate.
Mm. I mean, the other thing I wonder is, okay, this is maybe overthinking it, but given that she claims to have just moved back there, I wonder if she just put them up because she knew he was coming over.
We're getting
there's
full on
something there.
conspiracy here, right?
Yeah, I'm just overthinking this completely, aren't I? But I can imagine
this
her
whole
like
thing
going,
is this cunning ploy to completely reinvent Martin Blank for her desires and change him into the man she wants him to be.
well, I don't know. I'm just thinking about people's rooms and so forth. I know so many people who it's like, and it's not just in the movies. It's that thing of going away and your parents converting the room for use by guests, and you come home and it's just not your room.
No.
It's just not. And like the fact that Martin looks at it and goes, "Oh no, it is the same." And there's not actually that much stuff in there that is hers, makes me think you're right with your kind of take on it. Like, it is weird that there's all this stuff that doesn't seem, like she's only got the 2 posters. But then there's also a side of me that kind of goes, once she left, would they have even left the posters up?
Well, so here's the thing, right? They live in a huge house, and she would have taken with her all of the things that she could have taken. I suspect that, like Martin, when she left, she probably didn't really look back when she was leaving for college, at any rate, right? And I'm assuming she went to college, right? She didn't really look back. She just like took everything, packed it up, and left, and probably stayed away during the holidays and stuff as well, for the most part, and would come back occasionally. And so the personality, right? Most of that went up in flames in the other apartment, if we're to believe the Devil's Night rather than Hugh's favorite conspiracy theories.
It's not like I have a problem with trust with beautiful women at all whatsoever. No.
So I think that's what it is, right? It's like, because if I'm perfectly honest, until about 7 or 8 years ago, if I'd gone back to my parents' house and gone up to my bedroom, which was up in the attic, it would have been very reminiscent of this. It would have been like my parents' decorating choices with a couple of posters still up that I hadn't taken down, and very little other personality, right? Like the old bed and like a few pieces of furniture that I'd never bothered taking with me. This is so very relatable to me, because if I go back to my parents' house until they redid the whole place, it would have been like this.
I mean, Kosmas, I imagine that your room now is still pretty much the way your room has been.
Yes. Well, there's
sorry.
No, it's all good. There's a lot more stuff in here, a lot more DVDs, Blu-rays, and all that. But apart from that, although that's not entirely true. When I was a kid, I had Mickey Mouse wallpaper. That's different.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you can have a DMX poster over there.
Yeah, I saw the DMX one. I was like, oh yeah, hip hop. Yeah.
I also have like a Bruce Lee calendar over there. So
excellent. Excellent. It is funny though, because like my office right now is more like my bedroom in terms of what's in it than the actual bedroom, because obviously I share a bedroom with my partner. But like this is pretty much what my own bedroom looked like as a teenager. It's just like shelves full of stuff, books and comics and posters on the wall. And
I mean, the utility of a bedroom changes when you become an adult, right? And you have your own place.
I don't know. Bowfinger. I don't know if you can.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yes. God, I love Bowfinger.
So that's up there at least 20 years or something. So.
What? Yeah. It has been that long, hasn't it? God, that was such a good film. I saw that in the cinema. I laughed like a brain.
Awesome.
Yeah, that if ever there was a film I wanted a sequel to, that was it. Like, other than Grosse Pointe Blank.
Yes.
So, because it's a similar period as well, right? This is
a couple years later. Yeah,
Bowfinger's like a few years later.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
God, it just feels so weird looking back at all these really great films and realizing they are just so close in time to each other.
If I had watched it, I might have had a poster of Grosse Pointe Blank too. I mean, you can think of it, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure I would have loved it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's okay. So that's an interesting question, right? How last episode I asked you about being familiar with John Cusack and Cusack's films. How familiar are you with Minnie Driver as an actress?
I guess I haven't watched too many movies with her, but she's amazing
Okay.
in this one. I mean, anyone not falling in love with her character or her, yeah, I can't imagine. Like it's
Yeah.
she's amazing in this one, and yeah.
So I think it's interesting. I feel like this film was a bit of a breakout for her, other than the film she did just before it, which was Circle of Friends, which was a much more it's in an indie film, but it's a completely different kettle of fish. It's period drama. It's youthful. It's school age, if memory serves. Coming of age stuff. And you know, she'd had a very, very tiny role in Goldeneye. She's the Russian singer in the nightclub that Robbie Coltrane runs when Pierce Brosnan's Bond goes to see him, and that's it. But in this, I feel like she's just operating on a whole other level. You know, I just feel like she's operating on a completely other level to everything else she's done just prior to it. It's definitive. You know, I can't imagine any other actress in the same in this film as she makes Debbie her own. And I also can't. Yeah, I've seen her do everything since, and I still think that she's done some great performances. But I don't think, you know, I feel like there's just so much happening here.
I don't know why, but Andy McDowell came to mind right now, and I'm not sure how old she was back then, but maybe and I don't want to ruin your dream with her being the only one playing the role, but I mean, if she was of that age, I guess she could have played that too.
Andy McDowell was a little bit older. She'd done Sex Lies and Videotape in 1990 or 91, because I was at university and I remember going to see it in the cinema in Brighton. And so this is 7 years on. So McDowell would be, because she was still doing rom-coms. I mean, McDowell she does Green Card with Gérard Depardieu around this time, but I can see why Cusack went with Driver for this. But I know what you mean. I've just realized, I see what you mean. There's something, it's the frizzy hair, but it's also the kind of the way she deadpans certain moments. Yeah, that's a good comparison, Kosmas. I like that.
But you're right. I mean, it's they made the right choice. If it was John Cusack or the director or everyone else involved, because it's amazing movies, and she's great in it.
So, yes, and of course you talk about people falling in love with her, because that's what Cusack did, because they started going out on this film.
No.
It says it all.
Yes.
So yeah. Do we want to talk about the emancipation line?
I mean, yes, I guess it's another music reference, isn't it?
Is it though? I'm not sure. I
mean, the Jamaican thing again, where she talks.
It is. Yeah, so it's a kind of Jamaican accent, patois accent.
Hang on. I have this. I am. This is ringing some sort of bell in music terms with me, and I just need to do a little bit of digging. 1 second, because like we found out the bit about the specials. There's something about the sort of, it's like an ongoing kind of thing she's doing. Come on. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, we'll have to save that for a different episode. But apparently, you know, we a lot of these episodes we've been doing, Cosmos, we keep Tarantino keeps coming up, right? Because it's 97 and he's a big famous guy by now, because Pulp Fiction's 94. But apparently, I just discovered while looking for the things to do with the music, apparently he was a big fan of Miami Blues.
Okay.
And so Armitage and Armitage knew this. They'd met each other on the PR circuit. So apparently he asked permission to put the Pulp Fiction standee in the Ultimart for the video store.
Yeah.
So apparently that's there by permission. That's cool. No, I cannot find the reference I was looking for. Sorry. I mean, I thought she was carrying on with that.
Well,
but...
there's a Bob Marley, there's Redemption song, right, which has Emancipate in it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like she's kind of just rocking that reggae vibe, but it does. Yes. It is a line that really stands out these days as being a little off, as not necessarily playing as well as it could. And actually, when I first watched this film, I'm not entirely sure I could make out what she was saying there.
Yeah, fair enough. But it is interesting, as you say. It's the reggae tip they're on at the moment, and that definitely feels like it's carrying on with the whole business of the Joe Strummer influence on the film as well, isn't it? You know, I
Yeah.
mean, Strummer never had a problem with being with, you know, he never. It's not like he was hiding his love of music from around the world, you know, with the Mescaleros and all his other solo work. And he
Yeah.
didn't, and he put his accent. He would put accents on, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you listen
Yeah,
to
yeah.
his Clash material,
And I mean, it's you know, at this time, it wasn't something that I think people really thought about the way they do today. It was,
no, I agree.
you know, almost 20 years ago. So it was.
I mean, I think it's about 2 years later when I was walking the village I lived in where I taught. I was walking through the streets and some guy in a white van leant out and yelled at me in a Jamaican accent, and they pulled the van over and wanted to know if I could sell them stuff. And I was just like, dude, I'm Indian. It was just the most bizarre conversation. But the guy literally put on the whole accent and everything, white guy, you know, like leaning out the van to go, hey, man. Like, what? I just don't know what he was thinking. I was in a suit. I was like dressed for school, right? I was in a raincoat with a briefcase and whatnot. Like, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, England and the Caribbean. It's a strange thing.
Actually, the second year I came to London, I was looking for the place I was staying,
Mhm.
and yeah, someone called me chief. Yeah,
Hey,
I
Chief.
was a waiter. Yeah, and he was talking Jamaican too. It made me feel funny in a good way. I'm not sure why he called me that, but that was a funny thing. Yeah.
So
Episode. Yeah.
one of the fun things about the different cultures in London and in particular, but about England and the different ways of referring to each other is I love how when you're in food situations, right? So like you're in a restaurant or you're in a cafe or you're getting takeaway, the way it's gone from being uh oh, like I don't know, I don't remember what we said when I was younger in England at the time in like the early 90s, but like now, as you say, it's like chief, and it's like the boss man is the current
Boss
one,
man
right?
is
Like all
what I
my
was
kids,
thinking. Yeah.
yeah, all the kids I teach is like boss man, you know. It's like that's what you say at a kebab shop or a fried chicken joint. And there's actually something really nice about having someone use it back to you. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
There's a meme that online that does it where like you get called sir, you know, you get called boss, right?
Yeah.
You get called chief, and then it's like, you know,
Or
the
you go up
ultimate.
north and you get called love, right?
Exactly, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you know, or the old granny who's like, "Oh dear," you know,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's almost like you're being included. It's like a community feel. I don't think people should ever take offense at that because I feel like that's about trying to be inclusive for a different generation.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's acknowledge.
that's how it felt too. That's
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have anything else on minute 57?
Well, the airplane thing is just that she was they
yes.
tried to recreate or going back to the past, right? I mean, what we talked in the earlier episode, like they're just trying to do a restart.
Yes,
And
I think so. I think it's, but it's also about the fact that he's still trying to put off telling her what he does because she's he said I'll trade you, right? Do an airplane and then I'll tell you, and it's like he's just buying time as well.
Yeah.
I love the line about I love the whole "what if we do if your dad walks in?"
yes,
Oh, you can give him one too. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
yeah. I mean, they're not doing anything. Yeah, whatever, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly, right? They're grown adults, right? And he's still like, "What do we do?" Oh dear, to be young again.
Yeah. And then once Martin sets her back down after the airplane, almost immediately she's like, "You can go now," and it's like she's trying to keep a little bit of distance there because it feels like she's just on the edge of not putting up resistance anymore.
Oh yeah, that look on her face.
Yeah,
just
but
before she's okay, you can go now.
We should discuss that more in tomorrow's minute because we then
agreed.
We get Martin testing that resilience, that resolve. So
yep. Okay then. So let's outro this. This was minute 57 of the Grosse Pointe Blank podcast, Debi Radio 79.5 FM, featuring co-hosts, co-writers, and co-producers Dev Saligar and Hugh David.
Today's guest was the wonderful Kosmas. Where can we find you, Kosmas?
I'm on X, Instagram, and also Facebook, but I guess the first two are the ones you'll find me most on. And if you put in my name, then Kosmas, there's not too many, so you'll find my my last name too, which it's a bit harder to pronounce.
Yeah, they should also look for your hashtag CosmosWorld.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. Yes,
I love that hashtag because I don't know anybody else in the world on social media who uses the hashtag CosmosWorld. It's brilliant.
I know. I'm trying to go to 1,000 or something, so maybe someday it will get something. Thank you.
Yeah. You can find us on all good podcast players, presumably including the one you're listening to this on, as well as a video version of this podcast on YouTube. We have an account on X, formerly known as Twitter, and another on Spotify. That is at Debi Radio, and our website, debiradio.com. And in all of those cases, Debi is spelled DEBI radio.
And finally, if you want to talk with us, come and find us at the Facebook listeners group, Debi Radio 79.5 FM Fan Club. One more time, that is DEBI Radio.
Sure was clear that all of this was new. Concentrating hard like a little girl, smoking for the first time. It wasn't a moment.